Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fat Mascara. I'm Jen.
I'm Jess.
It's Friday in summer. It's a summer Friday. It's summer state of mind.
Listen, Jen, I am ready for a little bit of a break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A little bit of a time off. Should we tell them? We got to tell them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the scoop. Jen and I are taking about 4 weeks off.
It's actually only like 3.
Okay, 3 weeks off. 3 weeks goes really fast, but we're not leaving you hanging. I don't like when people stop doing a podcast or like piece without any information. I hate that. I will not name the podcast that did that to me. but I did not appreciate
No, then you
that.
get nervous. Then you start searching all over the internet. What happened to them? I think it's people who don't realize how much work goes into a podcast and they just get tired.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We can sidebar about that.
I don't know.
Okay. So long story short, we're taking some time off. We need to rest, rejuvenate, recuperate, touch base on a few things for Fat Mascara. But yes, Jen, we have some business to talk about. We are going to have some good interviews for you. Some nice, juicy interviews that Jen and I have hand-picked for you. And what Jen and I did, we spent a lot of time the other day recording some new intros for those. So I don't want you to skip over those and think like, oh, I heard that one. No,
they're going to find out also what I'm doing during my resting and rejuvenation.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, my God. Yeah. Jen is doing cool stuff. So, yeah. So Jen and I we probably can't talk about that much stuff for like Fat Mascara because we're so busy. So here's the scoop. You're going to be listening to these, but the new intro is going to recontextualize each episode because some of them are like 3+ years old. So dive back in.
And we revisit the trends that are mentioned in it.
Revisit the trends.
And catch up on summer stuff too.
We didn't just throw things up like wildly. We just we
also have, I think we're going to have 1 or 2 new episodes thrown in the mix too. It's just not the normal cadence that everybody is used to.
Yeah.
But we'll be back September. Normal cadence with some amazing, exciting stuff.
I'm really excited.
Yeah. So that's the news. You're updated. And now we can actually get into our episode today with Dr. Jason Diamond, which I sort of alluded to on Wednesday. If you listened to that episode, I raised a wand to his medicine product, which we will talk about. But let me tell you who he is. This is the LA Face episode. Honestly, we have this episode called The New York Face. I kid you not, every time I look, it has like 100 more listens. It's an old episode, but it is one of our most popular episodes. And Jess and I got to talking and we were like, we need to do the New York face. I mean, the LA face. Yeah. We need to do the LA face. What is the LA face? What's trending as far as aesthetic medicine in Los Angeles? And of course, the guy we thought of was Jason Diamond. He's a facial plastic surgeon based in LA, board certified by the American Board of Facial Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery. Say that 3 times fast. The American Board of Otolaryngology, and he's a fellow at the American College of Surgeons. I forgot about this till he brought it up. He was also on a TV show called Dr. 90210, since built up his practice.
I forgot about that. And then when he said that, I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot.
I know, because I think of him as the celebrity plastic surgeon, because the interesting thing about him is a lot of his patients are very open about going to see him for non-invasive and sometimes invasive procedures. He's treated Chrissy Teigen, Kim Kardashian, Olivia Colpo, Hilary Duff, Kate Upton, among others. He's here to talk about trends in plastic surgery as it pertains to pop culture at large and the LA market at large. We'll get into that. Social media, how that affects his practice. And we really get into the procedures he does not recommend, and then also the ones he does.
That was good.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I'll stop talking and let Dr. Jason Diamond take it away. Dr. Diamond, hi. Welcome to Fat Mascara.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you again. I wanted to talk to you about so many things, including, like, you're going to be our LA expert here. We want to talk all about everything that goes on in Los Angeles, the trends in plastic surgery, all of that. But before we get into it, I need to know about your practice and you. Like, where is it? Who are your patients for people who might not know you?
My main office is here in Beverly Hills. I've been doing this for a long time, and my patient population is sort of organically grown with me. So who are my patients? One thing I learned early on, I was taught that actually one of the most important things I learned early on is something people always ask me for advice on how to build a practice. One of the most important things I learned was one of my initial people I worked for. He told me, And I started working for this guy, and I didn't really like how it was going because I didn't really feel like I fit in that well with the practice. I was just starting, and I was kind of going in with this guy who'd been in practice forever. And I talked to him. I said, this isn't sort of what I envisioned. And he said, Jason, he said, you got to be patient. He said, your practice will look like you eventually. He said, that's how you become successful. You have to make your practice look like you.
What was like the vibe at his practice that you felt like you didn't fit in?
I'd rather not say. I'd rather not say. But basically, I took that to heart, and basically was just what that gave me was license to be myself. It gave me the reassurance and the license to just be myself and do things the way that I want to do them and that make me comfortable. And eventually, my practice started to look like me. And that's the best that I can say it. And what does that mean? That means it's people I can talk to, people I can not necessarily have to relate to, but like kind of have similar visions and what our goals are, and people I can go into the room and like talking to. It doesn't mean we're the same. It doesn't mean I like the same things and I look the same, but it just means people who I can comfortably relate to. And that's basically who my patients are. And that's everyone from local LA people to people that travel to see me, but still it's people that we have comfortable relations. We can talk comfortably. I can be myself, they can be their self, and we can talk.
Are you from LA?
I'm from New Jersey, actually.
Okay, what's up?
Yeah,
where in New Jersey?
East Hanover. It's not far from Morristown.
Whenever you mention New Jersey, I feel like 1 out of every 10 people is from Morristown.
Really? Yeah. Well, East Hanover is a very small town, not far from there. But
okay, interesting. Yeah. How'd you go all the way to LA?
It's kind of a long story, but
it's like Jersey boy makes good in Beverly Hills.
Well, I went to med school in New York, University of Rochester.
Okay.
And when I was in medical school, I got very interested in facial plastic surgery, which you're not really supposed to get interested in medical school. Like medical school, you've got classes and you rotate through.
Yeah.
Medical school, the first 2 years, you're all in a classroom the whole time. Then third year, you go into the hospital setting. You start rotating through different services and pediatrics and OBGYN and whatever, everything.
Yeah.
And I came across some facial plastic surgery while I was doing like a head and neck cancer reconstruction rotation, but I saw some of the cosmetic reconstruction parts of it. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like I love the anatomy. I love the finesse of that. And I started to develop a relationship with like the top facelift facial plastic surgeon in Rochester, New York. And I actually started like blowing off other classes just to go spend the day with him. Like, which wasn't necessarily a good thing, but I was really, really interested.
Don't go to him for your GI issues, everyone.
Right, exactly.
Like, doctor blows off other classes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go on. You don't want to come to me for your heart issues.
Anything but the facial plastics.
Yeah. Okay, so you start hanging out with this,
I started hanging out with this guy, and I'm spending my free weekends, like sitting in the emergency room with the residents who were there to sew lacerations. I just became so. He saw how interested I was, and he said, hey, listen, he said, if you really want to see the highest level of this, you should go spend a week in Beverly Hills, and I can get you into the top guy. He doesn't let med students in, but he's a good friend, and I'd already been spending so much time with this guy, and he knew me and trusted me, and he said, I can make a call and get you in. You'll see the highest level. And I said, I definitely want to do that. So on my next spring break, or whatever it was, he called this guy in LA, said, hey, you got to let this guy in. And I went for a week and I spent every day just watching. And I developed this connection with Beverly Hills. I knew that's where I wanted to be because the level was so high. And it was,
more than Rochester.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the guy in Rochester's great, but the level, just the whole way it ran in Beverly Hills was how I started to dream how it should be. And that's just how I got connected. And then I always maintained that connection. I knew I wanted to come to Beverly Hills. I maintained my relationship with that doctor. So when I moved out here, I got to spend time with him and learn. And so that's how that developed.
There's like a stereotype with Beverly Hills. Like in my head, of course, plastic surgery, Beverly Hills, that's where the top people were. But did the industry of movie making and all of that come up at the same time as the plastic surgery industry? Like why in the United States is that the hot spot for surgery? Sorry to the New York and Miami and Dallas and all the other surgeons, but like it kind of was the OG place.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know however this is going to sound, but the reality is the reality is in general, people in the movie industry are some of the most attractive people in the world. People
I've
from all
heard.
over the world come here because they want to this. So you're getting like a very biased sample of people who live here, right? It's the best looking people, the most successful models from their little villages and wherever they're coming from, they all come here. And so it's sort of like the plastic surgery world, it had to be at the highest level to facilitate these people making a career with their appearance. So it kind of weeded out the bad doctors because you had to be good, you had to get good results. Otherwise, you weren't going to make it very long. And so that just became the mecca.
You didn't have to be high profile, though. But I look at your social media, you came out with your own line. Was that intentional because you have these high profile clients, or it just sort of happened? Or was it, and you're on social media, you have a big social, you have a presence, some celebrities use you and they're open about going to see you.
Yeah, so that all came organically, that part, the social media thing, I was actually late to the game. I took care of very high level people before I even did social media, and all these other guys were doing it and other doctors were doing it. I still remember back in like 2005 and 6, I was getting all these Facebook requests daily because I was I made it to a TV show at that time called Dr. 90210. So I became very well known quick and early on, and I was getting every day 50 different like Facebook requests from all over the planet, and I ignored every single one of them for years. Meanwhile, my colleagues were all accepting them, and by the time like 2012 rolls along, 2013, some of my colleagues had 500,000 followers and this and that, and I could have had all of that and didn't because I didn't care. But the reality is, once I started doing the social media, my patients and I were so close. I trust them, they trust me, and they just openly decided to start sharing some things. And a small number of my patients do that. You only see a small number, but we never ask for them to do that. They just do it. And I'm very fortunate and grateful to them for being willing to share things. But it was when the social media started, was when sort of it became more well known of some of the people I was taking care of. But locally, a lot of people knew. But celebrities were more quiet about things before social media was a thing. It's not like they were going out talking about it too much. You know what I mean? That just made it more easy for them to sort of share their experiences in a way they were comfortable with.
Now, we've had plastic surgeons on before, but honestly, we haven't had a plastic surgeon on in like years, which is just shocking. I mean, we have a lot of guests on, and we don't have like a quota, like it's plastic surgery, it's been 3 months. So last time we had one on, we talked about plastic surgery as something that people do kind of like in their 50s, but you're talking about social media, your patients sometimes sharing what they're doing. We're not necessarily talking about like 60-year-olds, 50-year-olds taking selfies and like doing TikToks in your office. We're obviously I think we're all picturing kind of a younger client doing this, aren't we? Patient, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, my patient population ranges, it starts at 5 years old. We do otoplasties on kids who are 5 because it's been proven to psychologically benefit them to get their ears pinned back when their ears are like this before they start school, so they don't get made fun of. So
you're pushing your ears back,
that's something that literally is suggested and recommended to do at 5 years old. So we literally have 5-year-olds sometimes. Mm-hmm. I don't particularly, it's not a big part of what I do, but I certainly will do that for certain people, like for friends and people that I know, I will do that. But still, literally we have sometimes 5-year-olds come in, but in general, it's widely considered standard of care to be able to do rhinoplasties on girls when they're 15, boys when they're 16. That's a very common thing that most plastic surgeons are pretty much around the world will have 15 and 16-year-old boys and girls for rhinoplasties. And then as far as enhancing the facial features, look, I've got models and actresses who literally are coming in their 20s to enhance their features so that they get that cover shoot or whatever, or maintain their position in a certain role that they have. There are definitely some young people coming in for it, but then certainly we have the facelift population too, which can start at mid-30s and go all the way up to 80.
Facelift in your mid-30s.
For people who have had major weight loss, some people have got gastric bypass or major weight loss. Yeah, there are 35-year-olds who have had lost 150 pounds or more, and their whole face sags. And then, facelift is completely appropriate and recommended for them. Yeah.
What about facelift? Just let's talk your standard. I'm getting older. Things are starting to slacken.
Yeah.
just kind of, it ain't what it used to be.
Yeah.
Facelift. When does that on average start?
For my patient population, I would say on average, probably around 45, 44, 45.
I was like, please make it older than me. Please make it older than me.
Jen and I need paper bags to breathe into right now. We need paper bags and a plane ticket. I don't know. Get your scheduler on the line right after this. Right after this. This is amazing.
So that means that there are people younger than 44. I mean, I've done
I know. I heard you say average.
That's okay? Average.
I like to be ahead of the game.
But talk to us about why that might be beneficial. Everybody's out here getting injections and things, but I'm sure, who are the patients that it makes sense for at that age?
It makes sense for people who have let's call it either an unhealthy lifestyle where they've aged more rapidly than they otherwise would have, or people who just have unfavorable, unfortunate genetics. Some people just age faster just the way that they're made. And so most recently, I did a 35-year-old facelift where she already had jowls. She had jowls of that of a mid-50-year-old, and they were real.
And that's not something you could fix with a non-invasive treatment?
In her situation, no. There are situations where you can improve that non-invasively and situations when you can't. And I know within 1 second which is which, because I do a lot of non-surgical procedures too. If you try to improve somebody non-surgically who is not a good candidate for that, you'll make them worse.
So, Dr. Diamond, let's talk about what people are asking for. So this person wanted their jowls shaped up, but a lot of people are coming, and I'm sure they've seen you on TV. I'm sure you have an incredibly savvy patient. Are they coming in and sort of like directing, or are they coming in and they're just saying, like, I want your expert eye, tell me what to do? Like, how does that, I realize every patient's different, but tell us like a little bit of like what that interaction's like with your patients.
Yeah, I would say most of the people that I take care of say, tell me what you see and just make me look my best. That's a majority. Okay. That's a majority. Certainly there are people that come in and say, this bothers me, can you fix this? There are those people, but a vast majority say, doc, whatever you see.
How has social media impacted your business?
When I first started, I'm a facial plastic surgeon, as you know.
Yeah.
And when I first started, I wasn't doing a lot of minimally invasive procedures. I was doing mostly surgical procedures, mostly facelifts and things of that nature. I developed my non-surgical practice probably in 2010. I really started to increase my non-surgical techniques as I was figuring things out. And it was shortly thereafter that we started doing some social media things. And I noticed that, number one, the non-surgical things people would more readily discuss. They more readily say, hey, I had a little something here, a little Botox or a little something or a little laser. They'd be much more willing to discuss that or just more readily would discuss that than they would about a facelift. And so it was about that time that the social media was taking, we started to do more and more of it. And we saw that, a lot of these people would come on, willingly share on their social media that, hey, I had this done. And so I'd say it did facilitate a more widespread recognition of the things that can be done, because a lot of the people I take care of have big followings of people. So the word was getting out there to a very wide audience, like, hey, I did this and look how good it looks. And so that did have an impact, I think, on...
What about the pictures people bring in? I'm curious, like, did they used to bring in pictures of celebrities and now they bring in pictures of like the bold glamour filter of themselves? We have all these tools now. How's that affected?
Yeah, it was
what you're seeing?
It was always the people you would think. Like when I first got started, like back in the day, we're talking like in 2000, people were bringing pictures of Angelina Jolie every day. I want this jawline, and then it turned into Halle Berry and Jennifer Aniston, and then it morphed into other people like that. And then for the past 10 years, it's been Kim K. Everyone, and rightfully so, everybody wants to look like Kim K. And Megan Fox is having everyone coming in with Kim K and Megan Fox, like all the people who like any of us would want to look like. That's probably most common people pictures that people.
So people still bring in celebrity photos.
Yeah, they do. But it used to literally they bring in magazine, literally pictures. Now it's on their phone and they scroll through and show, So that's a big difference. But yeah, those are the usual suspects.
I only ask because we've had dermatologists say that people bring in a filtered version of themselves.
they will do that too.
Speaking of phones, Jen and I, we talk about headlines in the news. Like once a week, we have a show where we always talk about headlines in the news. And one from a couple weeks ago just like sent us into a complete tizzy. You probably know about the surgeon who...
Dr. Roxy in Ohio.
Exactly.
I read about this. I have no idea who that is.
She was charged. No, we're not saying you're friends with her. We're not saying,
Yeah, I don't
She
even know
brought
who she
her
is.
phone. She was live streaming her surgeries.
Live streaming her surgeries. And she said that she did it with the best of intentions to inform her. Yeah. But we see a lot of this kind of stuff going on. I mean, I've even seen it not with my kinds of doctors, but like we've seen it just in beauty. People, I think doctors are doing it with a lot of really good intentions to kind of show what they're doing and inform their followers. I mean, you talked about it. Doctors got really excited in the beginning once those kind of words of social and medical and kind of like edutainment exploded. What's your stance?
Well, I mean, this doing what we do, a cosmetic surgery world, it's a very sort of insulated population of people. These are typically happy offices with healthy people versus a neurosurgeon office or a cardiovascular office where there's sick older people and it's not necessarily the most upbeat mood. There is that sort of atmosphere of, a jovial kind of atmosphere for the most part. But don't be mistaken for 1 second. This is still medicine and this is still dangerous and there's still tons of risks. And I think she should be charged. These idiots. I'll call her an idiot, okay? I'll come right out and say it. And a couple of years ago, there's another guy filming himself, another woman, I don't know, dancing in the middle of surgery, taking breaks and all kinds of stuff. That is crazy. This is real medicine and bad things can happen if you are not 100% focused at all times. And so I love that I can take a picture with someone and smile and this is all fun and good. But when we're at business, it's serious. There's no messing around. And we're as serious as a heart surgeon doing a heart surgery when we're doing our surgeries. And so you cannot let your guard down for a second. And so that's my stance on that. And I see the yahoos out here. Literally, there's a guy who killed somebody 6 months ago. And the next day he's on Instagram Live smiling as if nothing happened. It's like, it's crazy. I don't have good feelings about all that stuff. This is serious business. And when you're doing your procedures, you need to be on and focused and not sidetracked by dancing in the operating room and taking live questions and things like that.
This message comes from our friends at Honeylove. Jen, I am calling it. Honeylove is the shapewear for wedding season. It is summer, and a lot of us are looking for shapewear to go under our wedding outfits, but shapewear always gives me like agita because it's not always the most comfortable.
You're so right, but Honeylove is different. I have their bra. I have their Superpower short. I wish I had this on my wedding day. The Superpower short, it's like targeted compression, but it's not sausage casing. It doesn't roll down. You don't feel like you can't breathe or eat. You're sitting at a wedding and you want to enjoy yourself. You don't want to be thinking about your shapewear. That's the whole point of Honeylove. It was designed to move in and to work with you. Best of all, okay, picture it. The wedding is over. Maybe you rented a hotel room or because you traveled for this wedding. Your partner has to like peel you out of the shapewear, not with Honeylove. You can slide that right off your own body because it is comfortable and easy to wear.
I love that. Just toss it off. Treat yourself to get the best shapewear on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/mascara. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off at honeylove.com/mascara. This podcast is brought to you by Cash App, the all-in-one way to send, spend, save, and keep your money safe. It's great because no matter how hard life gets, Cash App keeps your money safe.
Thank God I have Cash App. It's a mess over here at the Sullivan household, trying to keep track of keys, wallet, phone. You've been to my house. You know there is a sign next to my door. It's a needlepoint artwork, and it says keys, wallet, phone.
Smart.
I know, but we lose and forget everything. We just lost another wallet here at the Sullivan household. Do not ask for details. The point of the story is that Cash App helps you track spending and make payments easy. Something easy in my life. It's secure, with or without your wallet, and you can get a free-to-order debit card.
Download Cash App in the App Store and Google Play to see why it's the #1 finance app in the U.S. App Store.
Let's talk about some of those surgeries. Before we get into some of the things that you do in your practice, there is this feeling that sometimes with plastic surgery, actually with a lot of Western medicine, let's be honest, there's a history of this Eurocentricness, this Eurocentric beauty ideal. But you travel all over the world. You work on people of all ethnicities. What do you think about that? Do you think that's still a concern? Do you still see that history of plastic surgery weighing heavily on the work that you're doing today? Or is it less of an issue because people aren't asking for a Eurocentric beauty ideal?
The people that I see, and I've been all over the world. I've been everywhere.
Last time I saw you had just gotten back from Dubai, I think, doing
I've been in the Middle East 50 times. I've been to Russia, China, all over the place. I've seen every single type of person there is. And there are different beauty standards in different cultures. And what was going on with all the social media and the Instagram is what we call the ethnically ambiguous appearance, where everyone's kind of looking the same, all these features morphed together. And we never really subscribe to that because I believe people do need to maintain their uniqueness, their unique beauty. And so the people who come to me pretty much want to maintain their unique beauty. So enhancing their features, making them look their best while maintaining their cultural identities. And that's really important to us. And that's most of who I take care of. There are probably other practices where
ski jump rhinoplasty is still happening.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. But that's not what I do. And that's not the people that come to me. When I say my practice looks like me, this is kind of what I'm talking about.
They want to enhance their unique beauty. They're not coming to get a whitewashed look of something from yesteryear. I get it. I do want to talk about what they do want to have done, because in LA, I feel like when I go out to LA and travel and look at people, I think there's like a different look there than certain other cities. So these days, when you drop me in Seoul, Korea, it's like there's a look to people in that city. In Miami, there's a look. I talked to a Miami plastic surgeon. He was like, it's about the lips here, whatever it is. What's the look in LA? You know what I'm talking about.
I honestly don't think my particular patients have a look that you would say, oh, they've had, you'd never know they've done anything. But
let's not talk about your patients, but you're based in LA.
Yeah, that's a difficult question to ask.
I don't mean that you're doing that, but it's like the Jessica Rabbit-y kind of like anime look has gotten hot in the last couple years. Not from your patients, but you're a thought leader in this space. I'm curious.
Well, that's kind of what I was talking about with the ethnically ambiguous look. People were really accentuating every feature in an over-exaggerated way. And that was kind of like, I think that trend even has died down, even though that wasn't my patients. But I think that trend has died down. There was a huge boom of this Brazilian butt lift thing, where these really significant, exaggerated augmentations. And I think that has died down, but that was clearly a look that you'd see. And of course, the voluptuous breasts and all that stuff. I think that has kind of been toned down quite a bit over the past 5 years, in my opinion. I don't even do body work. Those aren't my patients. But what I see when I'm out, my take on it is that those things are starting to, it's starting to shift the other way a little bit. And I think that's a good thing.
And well, let's talk about the fact that it's shifting means that these things are trendy. How do you feel about that? The fact that medical work that you've trained to do is like also trendy.
Yeah, there certainly are trends, but again, I'm sort of outside of that gravitational pull, honestly.
But you see it happening, right? Like I'm sure you go to these conferences with other doctors and they're like, everybody wants PDOs or whatever, thread lift.
Yeah, there certainly are. There are trends and they come and go. And oftentimes the procedures that are developed to meet these trends aren't really good time-tested procedures. And so it's the kind of thing that I never get too concerned with, because it's not what I'm doing a lot.
You're not playing in that lane.
Yeah. So I may not be a good person to ask about that, but I'm not hopping on every one of these little things.
Yeah.
And so, the things I do, I've been doing for a long time. I've certainly honed and perfect and tweak over the years. These things that come out like the thread lift and all these things definitely are trendy and definitely have their problems associated with them and don't really work the way they are promised to work, and so I don't really get on that too much.
For our listeners, I think it'd be really great for them to hear, I don't want you to prescribe like this is good, this is bad, because I know it's not that easy, or I'd imagine it's not that easy, but I'd love to hear like which ones you're really not a fan of.
Well, there's a few that I think are very problematic. Number one is the thread lift. And the thread lift is something I was one of the first ones in the world doing, actually. Back in 2002, it wasn't even called the thread lift, it was called the feather lift. This was the first iteration of it. And you had to take a special class to do it. There were only like 5 of us in LA that were doing it. I was one of them. And I got introduced to it by one of my mentors, who was one of the most famous guys in town. So he was one of the people who was kind of exploring it. And because I was with him, I got access to it. But this wasn't like every nurse on the corner was able to do and every OBGYN on the corner was able to do. No, this was like, there were literally only a few of us. And it was a cool little idea, like this little thread, you put it in, boom, and look, the thing was, it didn't work. It worked for like a couple months, maybe a month, and then it fell apart. And so quickly after we started doing it, that thing fell apart and it died on the vine.
As in when the threads dissolved, the collagen wasn't there like it should have been.
Well, these weren't even dissolvable. These were permanent threads. Oh. They weren't even dissolvable at the time.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Then a company called Contour Thread Lift came, and it was the same people who developed the feather lift. It was this guy named Dr. Ruff in like North Carolina actually developed it on the concept of a porcupine quill. Like it can only go in one direction. If you try and pull it, the hook's engaged, and that's how porcupine quills work. He designed it based on that. It's a very smart concept. So it was the same company though, and the same people. They just said, okay, we're going to upgrade this thing, and then they called it the Contour Thread Lift, and that blew up. That was like, if you're not doing the Contour Thread, they spent millions and millions of dollars on PR. It was on every Good Morning America and every news station, and it was everywhere at every meeting, every lecture at every meeting was about the Contour Thread Lift. And like, you were like missing the boat if you weren't doing it. And I got some inside information on it because that company was very interested in starting a Los Angeles presence. They were very interested. So they had this guy, and I won't even say his name, but they had this guy who was supposed to be coming to LA to teach once a month at the W Hotel over by UCLA. And you had to buy tickets. And apparently this thing was like sold out by every doctor in town. You couldn't even get into this thing. So this guy who was supposed to get, it's such a fascinating story. This
is the trends I'm talking about.
So what happened? What happened?
Yeah.
All right. So it's so funny. So
you say this doesn't happen. This clearly happens.
So this company calls me, right? They call me because I was on the show. I developed this reputation already. I had a very busy practice. I had a really good thing going. I was very up and coming. And they called me and they said, and they knew I had done the feather lift. I was one of the 5. I knew how to do this. They said, listen, we want you to be involved in this. And here's what we want. This doctor, he's this secret doctor. He's got this whole underground following of A-list celebrities from all over the planet. They're underground. No one knows about it. But he goes to LA. He's been going for like 5 years. He developed this thing even before the feather lift. And he's been going underground and doing these things. And it's top secret. No one knows. I was like, holy shit. And so this doctor who's been doing this, he's got this most amazing practice, the most amazing patients you can't even imagine. And he's the one we're going to have start to come teach this thing. And so what we want is we want you to cover him. So he's going to come to LA once a month. He's going to do these procedures, and then he's going to fly back to his home country. He wasn't from this country. I won't say where he's from. I don't want to out him, although I should, but I won't.
Okay.
He's going to fly back to his country, but someone needs to be responsible for those patients for insurance purposes.
Yeah.
Because for him to do this, his insurance wants to know who's going to be covering him. We want you to do that. And if you do that, you'll be involved in the company and you'll be managing these high-list patients, not only the ones that he is teaching on, but all his underground Okay, this whole cockamamie story. And I buy it hook, line, and sinker. It sounds amazing. I'm just getting started. I'm going to be with like this most amazing guy. Okay. So that's their pitch. And that's their story to everybody. When they go teach in front of all these doctors, they tell this story. This guy's got this, and that. And all these plastic surgeons are like, who the hell is this guy? But he must have something that, oh my God. Okay. So before I decide to do this, I call my insurance company. I say, hey, listen, this is the story. They want me to cover him. Can I just cover him? Like what? They said, well, call his office and find out a little more details first, because we want to know how many surgeries does he do? What's his qualifications? Okay. So I call his office manager. I call this other country and I talk to his office manager. He's not there. And I said, and by the way, at these lectures, because I went to like 3 of them before, because I'm learning how to do it. So they're like, come for free, you'll come. So I went to like 3 of these things in a row at the W Hotel. The whole story, they give this whole story about his underground practice, but also that in his home country, he does 2 of these thread lifts every morning and then does a facelift after. So he's fully versed in thread lifts and real facelifts. So 5 days a week, 2 thread lifts in the morning and then a facelift, Monday through Friday. And it sounds like, holy shit, this guy's got the most amazing thing ever. Okay, that's their story to everybody. That's their public story. So I call the office manager and I say, I want to know how many facelifts he does a week. She says he doesn't do facelifts. And I want to know how many thread lifts he does a week. She says maybe he does a thread lift a week or once every 2 weeks. So their story was a complete cockamamie lie, okay? So it was a whole smoke and mirrors thing that turned out to be all fake. Then I found out he never had an underground practice here. It was all lies. He never even treated one person here before these.
Good thing you did your due diligence.
So this is the story. The point is they promoted this thing and it just shows the integrity of this type of world. If they're going to lie about everything.
That taught you your lesson, though. Like, you can't be seduced by the marketing of medical stuff. You have to do your own.
That is a frightening story that I think everyone should take a lesson from.
Yeah, so this whole thing, right. So this is how this company's promoting the thread lift. So we're on the contour thread lift. So the contour thread lift, you had to do it. You're missing the boat, this and that. That was popular from 2005 to 2007. And then the results were terrible, right? They just didn't work. Problems left and right. That thing hits the shitter. That thing goes down and it's dead. In 2009, they come out with the silhouette thread lift. It's this, but it's better. This is better, not the problems. It goes up with the marketing. 6 months later, it crashes and burns. And then in 2015, another popular doctor starts talking about it. It goes up, it crashes and burns. And then in 2019, someone promotes on their Instagram. It goes up for 3 months, and then it crashes and burns. This is the story with the thread lifts. When someone promotes it, people are easily influenced by the promotions and by the marketing of it. And so people get interested. But then sure enough, the results of them are so fleeting that they just sort of crashes and burns.
Do you think with plastic surgery, it's important for people not to be an early adopter? Because, we see all these new procedures
question,
and should you wait on them a little bit?
It depends. That's really on the surgeon's judgment. Like we're cutting edge here. We do the most cutting edge things. There's nothing out there I don't know firsthand about. There's nothing. That doesn't mean I jump on it right away. But I watch, I listen, I learn, I talk to colleagues, because a lot of these things come out and they sound amazing, and then people start doing it. The next thing you know, they're creating disasters.
What about someone who's listening who doesn't have access to someone like you who's doing that vetting for them? They're not sure, they don't even have a surgeon yet, but they heard about a new procedure. Should they wait a little bit is what I'm asking.
I mean, that's about trusting your doctor. It's about trusting your doctor. It's a slippery slope. It's a dicey business.
So don't go shopping for a procedure. Go looking for a doctor.
Correct. Find a doctor that you trust.
And then say, here's what the issue is, rather than coming in and being like, I saw XYZ new filler on wherever or XYZ procedure.
So
you're not going to do a thread lift. Just to finish up that question, is there anything else that you're like?
I also want to know, was that doctor like a real doctor?
Jess is so
Or was he like a podiatrist? Like, was that like a real doctor?
We all know it's a man. Just be honest. Come on now.
Well, it was a real doctor, but the company just lied left and right about everything about it. But that was the point. They were talking about how great this thing was, and it wasn't. And what the track record was, and the track record was fake. Okay,
Jen and I could have been the doctor. We could have put on a little coat.
No, because a woman wouldn't do that. But anyway.
Jen.
But the problem with these things is that they can cause a lot of scar tissue. If somebody's in the market for a thread lift, that means they're going to be wanting a facelift at some point down the road. And a lot of these non-invasive procedures have made the surgical procedures much more difficult with it thins out the skin. It creates these scar tissue.
You'd rather someone wait and come and get the real work
for
done.
sure. For sure.
Just pony up for I shouldn't say pony up, but just assess what can be done.
The thing is, these days, there's so much in the world of weight loss with all the Ozempic and the Mounjaros and all those things. So people are losing weight. And with weight loss, you're seeing some advanced aging of the face. But not only that, with these medications, you're getting thinning of the tissue layers even in a different way than just weight loss alone. You're getting thinning of the deeper muscle layers too. And when we're doing facelifts, we're relying on those muscle layers to really tighten things. And so given the thinned out tissue layer, add a thread lift to that, now you're going to make a facelift. You're really, really shooting yourself in the foot when you're trying to get a result, because now you got thinned out tissue with scars in there from the threads. So there's a lot of reasons why I don't like them. And I have more experience with these things than anybody. I've done more thread lifts back in my day than anybody. And that was before we knew. And that was one of those things I jumped on early. And it's a quick lesson as to why not to jump on something so early. Okay. Similarly, I have a big problem with Kybella. Allergan's going to put a hit out on me for that. But I don't like Kybella, which is the fat melting injector, because the thing is, and they promote it for right here. The thing is, most people.
So you just pointed right underneath your chinny chin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most people who have an appearance here that they don't like most people have no extra fat here. So none of us on this screen have extra fat here. Okay. What this is marketed to is inject here and you can improve this area. But the problem is most people will not be improved by removing fat from here.
It's more an underlayer musculature issue that's going on.
It's a skin issue or a deeper fat layer, which Kybella doesn't get to. Kybella only gets the superficial fat. Kybella gets the same fat that liposuction gets. Okay. Now, and I will tell you,
could I Kybella my tricep area? Get a little. No.
Listen, you may, that's for you and your body guy. I'm a face guy. That's for you to discuss. If there's extra subcutaneous fat, maybe. But the face has very little extra subcutaneous fat. It is rarely the problem. Now, if somebody is properly overweight and really has extra fat, then maybe they're an okay candidate for it. But if you're a candidate for it, then liposuction, literally, if you were a candidate for just liposuction under here, let's say, liposuction can be done under local anesthesia. It takes about 20 minutes to do. You wear a pressure wrap for 3 to 5 days. You look great in a week, and you're done. With Kybella, let's say you say, okay, well, I want to do Kybella instead. Kybella, you're doing a bunch of injections that hurt like hell. They hurt more than liposuction. The way it works is it creates a chemical reaction and swells up like a bullfrog. So for 2 weeks, you literally look like a bullfrog.
Oh my God.
And then it finally starts to settle down. And then for 2 weeks, you look okay. Then you got to go back in a month
okay, so
later.
You're not doing that
so
either.
For 5 months, every 2 weeks, you look like a bullfrog. You're in intense pain. And the problem is it doesn't do. So if you were a candidate for it, lipo is so much quicker and easier and more predictable. But the problem is most people aren't even a candidate for it. But it's such a sexy thing to market. Come in for some quick little injections and tighten you all up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an easy sell.
So let's go move positive, shall we? Talk about things that you do like to do. May I?
Yes, please.
Because you do this thing called the Instafacial, right? And it has PRP. And we haven't actually talked about this on our podcast yet. Sometimes you like to do PRP as part of the Instafacial. I understand it's very bespoke. What does PRP do for someone's face? Why is that part of your practice?
Well, that's a bioregenerative treatment. It's something I very much believe in and have a lot of experience with. So we take your blood and we concentrate we separate out the layers. So we are concentrating the platelets, which are rich in proteins that help to regenerate, renew, restore. So it has a much higher concentration of these beneficial factors than just blood alone. And so we find that when we inject it and we penetrate it superficially in combination with other things, it just has this way of improving the skin. And not only the skin, it improves hair. Your orthopedic surgeon is going to inject it into your elbow now to fix your elbow instead of putting steroids in. It's just got this kind of like.
When you say penetrate superficially, I'm just going to jump in here because you guys, he did this to me like a couple months ago. I was like, I've been reading about it forever. You did like a microneedling with the surgical grade microneedling, and then you smeared the yellow plasma right on to the tiny holes in my face. Am I describing that wrong?
No, you're describing it right. Except and then we're penetrating it again, pushing the plasma in. Right. So we're creating all these channels to get it into your skin. Yes.
I feel badly because I had multiple variables that month because I also got injections from my dermatologist. So I can't say that this is true, but like seriously, at first I was like, that didn't do anything. That didn't do anything. 2 months later, all of a sudden I woke up one morning and I was like, my pores looked smaller. I was like, damn, is this the injections or the PRP? I can't tell anymore. What do you think it was?
Yeah, I think it was the PRP. Injections won't make your pores smaller.
Yeah, but like a little bit of filler sometimes like kicks your own hyaluronic acid into gear, right? No, he's shaking his head.
No.
It was the PRP. All right, well, it worked for me. So you've launched a line sort of to bring this to everyone, medicine.
It's very exciting because I like that it's just a few products. It's very easy to understand how to use your line, which I'm a huge fan of.
What is in that serum? It's not it's obviously not platelet-rich plasma. What is in the serum that helps mimic that effect?
The serum are bioengineered growth factors to be identical to human growth factors. And how do we do it? I could tell you, but I have to kill you. I mean, we've been working on this for a long time, but we bioengineered them with the best chemists and with hands-on approach to create a replication of what the human growth factors do. And what do human growth factors do? They're messenger cells that work in between cells and tell the cells what to do. They tell them to proliferate, die, survive, differentiate. They tell the cells what to do. And so that's what growth factors are. And it's a matter of getting the right ones to, create a cellular repair.
Yeah, I used the serum with growth factors before I was using your serum. I had trouble explaining it to people because it has this reputation of like, foreskin. It came from a fetal foreskin. But I know it is not that. It is not a human skin. It's human-derived in that they used a human skin to develop all of these proteins in a petri dish, filtered them out. But you were like, I'm not messing with that.
Right.
So you did it with what? Plants?
A lot of different things, yes.
He can't tell us. He's going to have to kill me. All right, I'm done.
Exactly. I tried. Because would you call it a biomimetic? What do you call it?
Yeah, we call it a bioidentical growth factor.
Bioidentical growth factor. Because a lot of different companies do them in different ways. So I've been trying to dig into how'd you do it? Guess I'm not getting it from Dr. Diamond.
We worked on this for years. We've tweaked the different
and you
for
find
years.
the clinical results are showing equal to a human-derived growth factor.
Yes. Yeah, and we've studied this clinically, and the clinical results show.
I saw the pictures. That's why I used it. I get it.
Okay, so what's coming up next for you? Are there any new surgical techniques you're working on? Or are there any lasers you want to buy? What is going on in the practice?
What's new? We're right now doing our Instafacial collection with medicine.
I also just want to say I'm very excited that you're selling at Moda.
Yes, so we're really excited about that too.
Thank you.
And we're just doing our thing. We're taking care of people. I mean, there's really not much. There's nothing really new that I'm doing other than doing the same things that we do and just taking care of people. I mean,
are you taking new patients or is it like a closed door for any of our LA folks?
We take patients, but most of the people I take care of are word of mouth and referred by somebody. I mean, certainly if someone calls that we don't know, we'll take them, but most of the people we take care of are word of mouth.
I've got a question about celebrities. Because I'm not a celebrity, I wonder what the celebrity world is like. If I'm a big celebrity and I have some stuff done, I'm obviously not telling anyone. But do I tell my celebrity friend, hey, I went to Dr. Diamond? Does that celebrity friend say to you, oh, fancy celebrity A told me over lunch that they had their nose done by you? Do they tell you? Or is it the publicists who do research and they find out who the best person is?
Good question.
Who's the seeker? Who's the seeker?
That's all person to person.
So the celebrity buddies tell each other?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And who calls? Who makes the call? Is it the celebrity themselves or is it their assistant?
I have a good relationship with many of my patients. They're like friends. And so many times they'll text me, hey, I want to send you this person. And I know who that, obviously, and then I will see, I give them my number and they'll text me directly. Hey.
Oh, the celebrities will text you themselves.
They'll text me directly. Yeah.
If we went through your phone, would it be like Oscar winners and your contacts?
I have the best Rolodex you have ever seen.
Holy smokes.
Oh my God. My phone is probably worth $100 million actually.
See, I always think that I'm like not that interested in celebrity stuff. And then somebody gives me like a little nibble and then I'm like, like such a like a nerd. Like, I think I'm like not into it and I'm actually super into it. Okay.
Yeah, my phone's probably like as valuable as like the nuclear football. It's like, it's got some.
I know but you're like a big family guy. Are you gonna like step away from Sunday night dinner because XYZ Emmy winner came?
That's the question. That's the question, right? Like, I take family time very seriously, and my patients know that. Do I come in on Sunday nights? Absolutely. Do I come in Saturday mornings? Absolutely. Do I make house calls at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night? Yes, we do. But my patients all know, again, most of them know me very closely. I'm very close with most of them.
So you can say, my son has a soccer game, I can't make it.
Or I can make it at 10, I can't make it at 7. And that's how it works.
I think if they want to stay in the inner circle, they're not going to use and abuse. They're not going to be psycho. They're not going to like walk all over you. Can plastic surgeons ever have like a Christmas party or a holiday party? Because then all the people would come and they would all know who's had what.
I don't know.
Well, that's the question.
Do they come to the office party?
That's the phenomenon of like when I'm out at like a busy restaurant and I see people who obviously do they say hi to me or do I say hi to them? And that's the question I've learned. I never say hi to anybody because I don't want to out them. And that's happened many times where I see like a very close person and I notice they're ignoring me and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to say a word. And funny enough, I was at my favorite restaurant, Matsuhisa. Is a small, it's Nobu's original place, on La Cienega. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a small little place and there are seats right next to each other. And I'm literally sitting with my wife. She's sitting next to me and right next to us is a table of two. And one of my VIP patients is sitting literally 5 feet from me. And we're making eye contact and I see her and I'm like, it's even too loud. I think I text my wife. I'm like,
did she give you a nod, a wink?
She didn't even give me anything. She just completely ignored me. And I said to my wife, I think she doesn't want her friend. I like show my wife a text. I show her because I didn't want to talk. And so then I'm like, I'm going to text her. So I text her. I said, I know you see me. I'd be like, don't worry. I'm not going to say anything because you probably don't want to. And she said, yeah, thank you. Like she was like, she texted back, thank you. Like she didn't want her friend to know how. Because her friend would say, oh, how do you know Dr. Diamond?
Right,
and she didn't want her friend to know that she sees
Oh my God, this is like a Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, it was.
So
it was.
So good. Oh my God. Well,
all right, last question before we do our speed round. We have a speed round for you. I just have to ask, do you use medicine? Like what is your skincare, hair care regimen about?
Yeah, I've been using it solely. That's all I use for the past year and a half. And we actually just traveled to London. I took a break. It's the first time I've been to London, actually, but we just got back from vacation. I was gone for 3 weeks. It's the longest I've ever been away. And I ran out within like the first couple of days I was there. So my wife and I, we didn't have it. And we couldn't believe, like, we noticed a difference not using it. And so, yeah, it's all I use. That's the only thing.
What else? You don't put sunscreen on?
I use sunscreen aggressively when I'm out, yes. I do use sunscreen.
Can't let you off the hook without a product recommendation.
I'm actually not that particular about my sunscreen as long as it's broad spectrum. That's the most important thing. So I use many different brands that are broad spectrum. It's all I care about.
Yeah, but people with facial hair, I think, often are particular about their sunscreen. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
I tend to use really thick white things that I look like a mime because I'm out. When I'm out, I'm out. I play golf. I'm out in the direct sun. When I'm out,
you're a skier. You need
I actually use stuff I think it's called Think Baby. It's what you put on babies. It's this thick white stuff. And it's literally white. And people always laugh at me. I'm like, you can laugh, but this is what I'm wearing. That's what I use.
Desitin. Guys, you heard it here. He puts Desitin on. I mean, that is titanium, zinc oxide, isn't it? Desitin?
Yeah.
It would be a sunscreen. All right, let's do our speed round, shall we? He has VIPs to go talk to. Wait, one more question on the VIPs. Do they get code names?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what the code names are, but Tammy knows. Like, couldn't even know what they are.
Like, big bird's coming. Big bird's here. Oh my God, that's
the
cool.
eagle has landed.
The eagle's landed. Okay, Speed round. First question. What's the first grooming product you ever remember using?
Grooming product.
Or shampoo or face product, or like first thing you ever remember? Teenage you or kid
Well,
you?
probably was a cologne in like senior year of high school. Dracar. Noir, I think it was.
That's funny.
It literally was guessing your
And
age.
I used to overdo it because I didn't know. I literally used to like put it on my arms. I put it in my groin.
And you grew up in New Jersey? This tracks. I'm from New Jersey. I can say all this. Yeah. I get the whole era.
Dracar Noir. Okay. Take this question however you want. What's your pet peeve?
I'd say I have kind of like a new one that's over the past several years. It's really, it annoys me. And I'm probably going to piss some people off here, but I can't stand. I live up on the top of Mulholland, so it's single lane roads down to work, to and from. When bicyclers are bicycling too wide, like they're not
like
lined
in the
up,
middle
they're
of
like
the
this,
road?
going 10 miles an hour, taking up the whole lane. Why aren't they one in front of the other? I don't understand that. So
that's scary.
It really
That's
pisses me off. And I got to say, I might drive a little close to them at times, and I might lay on the horn a little bit from time to time. Like why are you
your Curb Your Enthusiasm episode is I'm working on the script.
No, seriously. My dentist is one of these guys, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I can see
This
you.
is a Curb. Are you sure this wasn't?
Yeah, my dentist.
Hey,
he's and I was like, dude, are you one of these guys who's like? And he said, well, no, I know a lot of guys do it, but I don't. I'm like, I don't get I'm surprised these guys don't get run over every day. They are literally they're literally holding up traffic for miles because they want to ride side by side on a single lane. Why is that?
Pet peeve is the pseudo Peloton of like Sunday bikers in LA.
Yeah, that pisses me off.
Got it. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's picture your weekend. It's 12 noon on a Saturday. What are you most likely doing?
So I've probably already hit the cold plunge. I've already worked out. I've already gone to the sauna. So now I'm probably, at this time, I'm ready to go. So it's usually something with the kids. Going motorcycle riding, bike riding, going to do a sport, going to watch one of their sports. It's something like that. If the kids are out at sleepaway, whatever, with their friends and they're not around, then I'm probably going to the golf course.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm not someone who sits at home and reads a book on a Saturday. That's not who I am.
That's coming across loud and clear. What's a movie you can watch again and again?
Oh, there's tons of them, but I'd say Goodfellas, Pulp Fiction, My Cousin Vinny. Like, yeah, there are those movies that come on as I'm scrolling through the channels, ready to go to bed, and when one of these comes on, I'm like, oh shit, now I'm stuck till 1 a.m. watching it. Those are like the three. I'm stuck. If they're on and I'm ready to bed, I'm watching it till 1 a.m. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. What's your favorite indulgent snack?
Indulgent snack? Well, my favorite like dessert type thing is anything peanut butter. A peanut butter pie, a peanut butter ice cream, peanut butter sundae. Like that's my favorite thing. What do I eat most frequently? I'm pretty healthy, but like my sort of mildly guilt-free indulgent snack would be like a big bunch of peanut butter with whipped cream at night. Like that's
Ooh,
kind of one
just
of my
peanut
favorite.
butter and whipped cream together?
Together. Put them in together, yeah.
That's good.
I like
you get
it.
tryptophan from peanut butter. That's like that makes sense to me. This was so educational. I feel like I kind of got an inside look at the LA plastic surgeon life. So I appreciate you sharing all of your expertise.
It's not a bad life.
It isn't. Thanks for coming on Fat Mascara.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
It's your reviews and feedback that help us make the podcast even better. Head over to iTunes to rate and review us or email your thoughts to info@fatmascara.com.
We also want to answer your beauty questions and hear what products you love. To share a Razor One product review or to ask a beauty question, email us at info@fatmascara.
If you send it as a voice memo file, we can even share your voice on the podcast. You can also do that by leaving us a voice message. Our phone number in the United States is 646-481-8182.
Thanks so much for listening.